Good morning, Andrews Elementary, and happy Thursday. I don't know if you've heard it, but it is storming outside and rainy. So today's a great day for an ELA day. Cuddle up on the couch, read some books, have a great day indoors because outdoors isn't very pretty right now. So I want to remind you today's an ELA day, so work hard. All right? If nobody told you they love you today, I love you all very much. Let's go ahead and read chapter 7. The two women and the small boy stood absolutely still on the grass underneath the tree, gazing up at this extraordinary fruit. James' little face was glowing with excitement. His eyes were as big and bright as two stars. He could see the peach swelling larger and larger, as clearly as if it were a balloon being blown up. In half a minute, it was the size of a melon. In another half minute, it was twice as big again. Just look at it growing, Aunt Spiker cried. Will it ever stop? Aunt Sponge shouted, waving her fat arms and starting to dance around in circles. And now it was so big it looked like an enormous butter-colored pumpkin dangling from the top of the tree. Get away from that tree, you stupid boy, Aunt Spiker yelled. The slightest shake and I'm sure it'll fall off. It must weigh 20 or 30 pounds at least. The branch that the peach was growing upon was beginning to bend over and further because of the weight. Stand back, Aunt Sponge shouted. It's coming down. The branch is going to break. But the branch didn't break. It simply bent over more and more as the peach got heavier and heavier, and still it went on growing. In another minute, the mammoth fruit was as large and round as fat as Aunt Sponge herself, and probably just as heavy. It has to stop now, Aunt Spiker yelled. It can't go on forever. But it didn't stop. Soon it was the size of a small car and reached halfway to the ground. Both ants were hopping around and around the tree, clapping their hands and shouting all sorts of silly things in their excitement. Hallelujah, Aunt Spiker shouted. What a peach! What a peach! Terrifico, Aunt Sponge cried out. Magnifico, splendifico, and what a meal! It's still growing. I know. As for James, he was so spellbound by the whole thing that he could only stand and stare and murmur quietly to himself. Oh, isn't it beautiful? It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Shut up, you little twerp, Aunt Spiker snapped, happening to overhear him. It's none of your business. That's right, Aunt Sponge declared. It's got nothing to do with you whatsoever. Keep out of it. Look at this picture. You see how big that peach is? That's crazy. Look, Aunt Spiker shouted. It's growing faster than ever now. It's speeding up. I see, Spiker. I do. Bigger and bigger grew the peach. Bigger and bigger and bigger. Then at last, when it had become nearly as tall as the tree and it was growing on, as tall and wide, in fact, as a small house, the bottom part of it gently touched the ground, and there it rested. It can't fall off now, Aunt Sponge shouted. It's stopped growing, Aunt Spiker cried. No, it hasn't. Yes, it has. It's slowing down, Aunt Spiker. It's slowing down, but it hasn't stopped yet. You watch it. There was a pause. It has now. I believe you're right. Do you think it's safe to touch? I don't know. We'd better be careful. Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker began walking slowly around the peach, inspecting it very cautiously from all sides. They were like a couple of hunters who had just shot an elephant and were not quite sure whether it was dead or alive. And the massive round fruit towered over them, so high that they looked like midgets from another world beside it. The skin of the peach was beautiful, a rich buttery yellow with patches of brilliant pink and red. Aunt Sponge advanced cautiously and touched it with the tip of one finger. It's ripe, she cried. It's just perfect. Now look here, Spiker. Why don't we go get a shovel right away and dig into that great chunk of it for you and me to eat? No, Aunt Spiker said, not yet. Why ever not? Because I say so. But I can't wait to eat some, Aunt Sponge cried out. She was watering at the mouth now, and a thin trickle of spit was running down one side of her chin. My dear Sponge, Aunt Spiker said slowly, winking at her sister and smiling a sly, thin-lipped smile. There's a pile of money to be made out of this, if only we can handle it right. You wait and see. That's the end of chapter 7. So, the peach is huge now. One of the ants has an idea on how to make some money. Do you have an idea of what they're going to do? Let's make a prediction of how you think Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker are going to try to make money off a giant peach. Tell someone at your house what you came up with. Let's have a great Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Work hard today in ELA. I look forward to seeing you in your Google Hangouts.